Hello, my friends. Uh, it's the night before Earth Day, so it's April 21st, 2020. And we're in this, the chasm time. And there's a lot of emotionality that's come up in particular for me today. I've noticed that during this time when we're staying at home, there are days when there's just like overwhelm emotions, just tons and tons of emotions. I've had periods where I just weep. Sometimes I'll have a full-on momentary thunderstorm of just, crying. And like most weather, it passes. But, you know, as those of you who have worked with me in the past and currently, you know, the thing about emotions, right? The thing about emotions, first of all, read Carla McLaren, KarlaMcLaren, The Language of Emotions and the Art of Empathy. This is a really great time because you could see how nature and the universe is kind of doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. As far as breaking, we had interrupting life as it was, the air quote normal, which is anything but normal. And the way forward really is going to be with compassion and kindness and thoughtfulness, thinking about other people, thinking about the plants and the animals and the air and the water. To think that we are the only intelligent beings on the planet, I would have thought that was an idea that got old by the 60s. But it doesn't matter. The truth is that every cell, every atom, every molecule has intelligence or divinity or consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And nature is doing for us what we can't do for ourselves as far as stopping the unsustainable ways of operating. It's really time for a complete operating system overhaul, which is pretty much what we're getting. And the qualities of the feminine or the mother, or caring for people, caring for each other, caring for all life forms, caring for the cells and the molecules of the water, is the only way forward. We can't. The great thing about unsustainable practices is that it's not an emotion, it's not a judgment call. They're literally not sustainable. And the earth is letting us know that. So everything you can think of is made up of cells and atoms and molecules, right? That's the nature of a thing. Cells, molecules, atoms. And every one of them has consciousness, intelligence, divinity. And so the new way forward has got to be recognizing that there is consciousness in everything. So when somebody wants to build a new widget, they need to be mindful of whether or not the cells and the atoms of the thing are going to want to be made. You can't make unconscious things and then expect something thriving to happen. So yeah, I know, I'm kind of all over the board here. But you know me, I do this. All right, so consciousness is everything. Consciousness is everything. Cells, atoms, molecules. And going forward, we need to be considerate of that. We need to consider all the different life aspects, not just a person's point of view. A person, by the way, is made up of a gazillion cells and atoms. So there is no one thing. Okay, now, there's the planet, which is not some babe that we have to steward. Oh, we do need to steward the planet, but it's not because the planet is less than us. The planet is a spiritual being too. And it has its own spiritual evolution that it's going through. And then there's the other 8 billion people on the planet right now. And untold numbers beyond that that are without body. So the short form is there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of activity. And one of the things that's happening right now is that there's a lot of disturbance in the field. And it can be upsetting. People whose loved ones are dying or they can't be with them. There's a lot of upsetting things that are happening. And you, being the very kind, sensitive, aware being that you are, maybe you see something on television that strikes a chord. Maybe you see somebody who reminds you of your mother or your grandmother. And then the next thing you know, you're kind of thinking about your relationship with them and what would you be doing if it was them. And so there's this resonance that's going on. And then you're not just dealing with whatever happened in your history with your mother, grandmother, but you're also taking on what you're seeing. And beyond what you're seeing, you're taking on that particular vibration all over the planet. So remember, if you have a piano and a guitar in the same room, and you pluck the C string on one, the C string on the other will vibrate, will make sound. So right now, it's as though there's a lot of resonance that's going on. You're watching something on YouTube or on the television, and it's the C string, and it resonates to something in your body, in your history. And then you're not only dealing with your own emotions, you're dealing with all these other emotions as well. So the first thing that you can start to do, the first thing that you're already doing, by the way, is you're trying to heal all those other people. And you can't do it. Think of it this way. Can you digest somebody else's lunch? No. So it's not a matter of choice. It's not a matter of good or bad. It's a matter of caring or not caring. It's that you can't process somebody else's emotions. However, you can do your own healing. So if it's something about your grandmother that's coming up, be curious, kindly curious about what is your system trying to tell you, what's trying to come up and out for healing, to be released. And as far as the overwhelm part is usually not yours at all. So you can't be overwhelmed by your own stuff. Sorry, but you can't. However, you can be by other people's stuff. So practice return to sender with consciousness. 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 Yeah, so just continue to repeat return to sender with consciousness as you move other people's energies out. And you're just sending it back to them. And because you're sending it back with consciousness, you're sending it back so that they can also heal. And healing is just another word for change, and it's a transmuting the energy. And their higher self knows how to do that. You don't have to worry about teaching them or anything. Your job really is to return to sender with consciousness. And just keep repeating that. Return to sender with consciousness. Return to sender with consciousness. Yeah. And notice how your body starts to feel better. Your solar plexus starts to relax. Your breathing gets a little better, right? Return to sender with consciousness. Return to sender with consciousness. Return to sender with consciousness. Yeah. Burping is a sign that you're moving energy. So is yawning. And even kind of falling asleep. So when you find yourself like with too much emotionality, or you're crying, or you don't know, you're sadder than you would think you would be, right? I mean, there's a lot of transition that's going on. But if you notice that you're emotional, try this. Do the experiment, see what happens. And just return to sender with consciousness, return to sender with consciousness, so that you're kind of skimming off the part of that doesn't even belong to you. And then you'll be left with what does belong to you, which is totally doable for you. Yeah, okay. So that's one part of this, is other people's emotions, because there's a lot of emotions going on right now. The other part of it is the planet. So this Earth Day thing is completely arbitrary. It means nothing to the planet. But it is, millions of people's consciousness being on the planet. People are thinking about the planet. Even if it's just 1 million. It's the whole thing that's happening right now is planetary related. The whole COVID thing is planetary related. Remember, this is nature doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. It's interrupting the insanity, interrupting the poisoning. So, along with everything else, this is kind of out of the bounds of the Time Warner version of the world, but the planet itself is going through changes. And one of the ways that, we're connected to the planet, period. And those of us who are sensitive and empathic, or, psychic training or whatever, we're really connected to the planet. And may have consciously or unconsciously spent a good deal of our lives devoted to healing the planet. So one of the other things that's happening right now is things that we call physical pain. Not all of them are ours. In fact, most of them aren't. And a lot of times it's like the planet asking for a contribution. So I don't mean like prayer. I don't mean like sending a healing in the conventional, even in the New Age conventional way. It's more like, put it this way, when you find yourself having a sensation that you identify as pain, be curious and ask. So, planet, are you requiring something from me? And just see if you get like an expansive feeling or a constricted feeling. And if you get an expansive feeling, just have the idea of, okay, planet, I offer you whatever it is you require. And just be in a state of offering. There's nothing for you to really think about with this. It's not like, there's no mind candy to it. But you can be in the state of gifting and receiving with the planet. And experiment with that for yourself and see what that would look like. What does that mean for you? And again, you can do return to sender with consciousness, return to sender with consciousness, return to sender with consciousness. Bodies like to participate, and that's a great way to participate. And then just notice what happens with your body. And just notice how the energy changes. So those are two very powerful techniques of how to be with this energy right now. So see what happens when you participate in this way. And let me know your experience. So I'm so glad that you're here, that we're all on this adventure together in a we state. Yeah. All right. Thank you.